Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is my good friend, Josh Finney. I did not come prepared with the nicknames, Josh. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I tried to come up with one on the fly, and then I was taking too long. And then I was just like, you know what? We're going into it. We're just diving in.
You know what? It's okay. It's all good. There's worse things. You know.
Yeah.
There's worse things. Corey, we have another pretty laid back week.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
We have Solstice has started up, but I think a lot of us, I feel like the devs included, are kind of on like a summer break right now, a summer vacation, so to speak. We do have some cool lore to read through from some Solstice pieces. We'll talk a little bit about Solstice, a little bit about that armor since you weren't here last week. We had Fox fill in. Poor Fox just got put through the ringer last week.
Oh no.
He messaged me about an hour and a half before we were supposed to start and was like, "Hey man, I said to be evacuated from my house because of a gas leak, so I might."
Oh god.
And I was like, "Wait, what?" What? He was like, "Yeah. Apparently there's a gas leak coming from my hot water heater." And this and that, and like I guess they got all that sorted out. He's like, I'm gonna run to my mom's house. I'm gonna shower. I'm gonna be back. The quickest run to somebody's house to take a shower that I've ever heard of. Because I thought that it left me enough time to make dinner, and it did not. But yeah, my poor guy went through the ringer after he agreed like last minute to come do this too. It's just just kind of slow times in game, and like I guess I kind of want to start off with a conversation. We don't have anything else here at the beginning. I want to jump right on into it.
All right. Jump on in.
There's been a lot of critique over the last couple of weeks about how how stale the game is and this and that.
You don't say.
Season. And if I could offer 2 cents to this, I don't think the season is bad. I think you're just burned out.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with A1 Johnny right before we hopped on, and me and him were messaging each other back and forth. I saw something funny on Reddit and dropped it into the Discord, and it was basically like it's the SpongeBob and Patrick meme where Patrick is saying something and then SpongeBob just points out everything that goes in the complete opposite direction of what Patrick said. And it's like Season of the Deep is the worst Destiny's ever been, and SpongeBob's examples are Season of the Undying, Joker's Wild, Season of the Hunt, Season of the Worthy, Base Destiny 2, and Curse of Osiris. And I absolutely agree with those. Like, I would throw Season of the Plunder in there also. Season of the Blunder, if you will.
Yeah.
I would throw that in there pretty easily. But it's like, and I mean, if we're going all the way back to Destiny 1, I mean, Dark Below and Base Destiny 1. So I think that, part of the reason why we think that this season is bad is because we're all burned out, right? I think a lot of us are just like not thrilled with the meta right now, which I don't know. I guess I can kind of understand, but I'm at a point where I'm also realizing it's because look at all the other games that we've gotten in like the last 3 months since Season of the Deep formally got revealed. We have had Tears of the Kingdom. We have had Diablo 4. We have had Final Fantasy 16.
Don't forget Pikmin tomorrow, Josh.
That's what I was going to get to. Tomorrow we have Pikmin 4 coming out. Next month, or in 2 weeks, we have Baldur's Gate 3. And at the very end of the season, the beginning of next season, we have Armored Core 6. We have the console release of Baldur's Gate 3, and we have a little game called Starfield coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, we also had summer showcases and a PlayStation showcase in this mix within the first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah.
It's real easy to be like, yeah, I'm not really enjoying this season because so many of us are playing other games right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that a lot of us really feel like we're kind of at a tipping point with the game. And I think that's more of like, I think the sentiment from Lightfall really rolled over. I think it's a trickle down effect. People were so upset about the Lightfall expansion, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong. However you feel is how you feel at this point, right? We made our opinions pretty clear back on our review pod. Feel free to go listen to that, but it's just this overall community sentiment at this point that whatever camp you were in post Lightfall campaign is probably still where you are right now.
Yeah.
Um, I think this season has been really good for a few things. I think the narrative has been really good. Um, and granted, it really wasn't until back half the season, but a lot of seasons are like that, right? I appreciate that the narrative is being kept to to a 6 week cycle. It was really nice that this didn't get drawn out super long, but I think also having a shorter, like having less weeks that you need to log in to progress the story also makes it feel like, oh well, this season's kind of a dud.
Hmm.
But I'd rather have that than have a bunch of filler,
Right.
right? I think that I personally I enjoy deep dive. Salvage is a nice little arena mode. We have not had an arena mode in a couple of seasons. I think Catch Crash was the last time that we got one of those. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the deep dives. The secret mission is awesome. I think the secret mission is genuinely one of the best things they've done in a very long time in this game. Fox and I we've discussed the difficulty a couple weeks in a row now. I think that the overall composition of the mission could have been a little bit better. Oh, maybe you don't need to launch it from inside of a deep dive, or once you've done it once, you can just launch it from the director. Um, that is a mission that seems destined to go straight into the exotic mission selector. But I look at all that and I go, in addition to an awesome dungeon, and I'm like, okay, where are we upset the most at as players? And it seems to be focused in a few places. It seems to be focused in the price of the game. For those of us who buy the $100 package every year, I think that we've become like just kind of like disassociated with it because we get our 4 seasons, we get our little pre-order pack, we get our expansion, and we get the dungeon key. And we've voiced our displeasure with the dungeon key multiple times on this show. I still think it's ridiculous. And you can make the argument for it or against it however you want to. But ultimately, good content like that and like the exotic mission does cost money to create. That does cost time and man hours, and that's man hours they're having to pull off of other projects to make things like the secret mission.
Hmm.
Secret missions are extra. They have a dedicated dungeon and raid team doing secret missions. That's different. That's I don't know how that gets broken down within the grand scheme of things, but like there was this grand idea, and this seemed to be pushed by various content creators and people in the community that, well, once Sony owns Bungie, then all the problems are just going to go away. Eververse is going to become less oppressive. No. um I think when we talk about the price of the game, you look at things like the event card, and that's just absurd. It's absurd. Why are you charging $10 for this? You're already charging for the armor glows, which I contend you should be able to earn in game. I understand why they're saying why they want you to pay for them, but I think of all of the armor sets from the 4 various things, from the things they do each season, that is the one you should absolutely be able to earn in game.
Yeah, that
For
sounds.
me,
Yeah.
go ahead, Corey. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm just saying, like, I wish there was a way to earn, like, maybe not like the crossover stuff or like,
Yeah.
but like event stuff, probably, right? I mean,
Well, we've talked about it before. I understand being between kind of a rock and a hard place, but I want to point out, and I can't believe I'm going to do this. Back when we were with Activision, you earned the Dawning armor. You could get the Dawning armor out of the special uh, Christmas boxes or Christmas Ingrams that you got every year. That's how you got Dawning armor. You had the chance to get it through things like that, and whatever you didn't get, you could go buy. You could outright buy the whole set, but you could earn it through that.
mhm.
They did it with that. I don't think they did it. They never had to do it with Solstice because you always earned Solstice. You had to pay for the glows, and the glows are a thing that came up within the last couple of years. I don't think the glows were a thing before the end of Forsaken. I think you could also earn for a couple years. You could earn Halloween armor that way because I have part of a Halloween set, not a whole part of it. I don't have the whole set. I only have part of it.
Mhm.
So I think that you could sit here and go, well, okay, Sony probably doesn't have the cap that Activision Blizzard did, but could we earn a few more things? And I know that that's been a big debate in the community for years and years. I'll never forget when Shadowkeep came out, and there were so many Hive themed things in the Eververse We were like, why can't we earn some of this stuff? Why isn't some of this stuff in the dungeon? There was nothing to earn in the dungeon.
Right. Yeah.
And it seems like they heard the complaints. We got a bunch of stuff we got a whole second armor set to unlock in Prophecy, and that was it. And I think I think player sentiment is like, okay, we see it as all the cool, like, and I don't agree with this one when they say, oh, all the cool armors behind Eververse. I don't think that's true at all, because we just got one of the coolest armor sets ever in Ghost of the Deep.
Mhm.
But I do think that there is a feeling that, at least with me, I see the crossovers and I go, 3 of the last 4 or 5 armor sets have been crossovers, which means that they are $20. They are not 15. 15 is already a lot, I think, for an armor set. 20 is completely unreasonable. That's as much as the dungeon key, by the way. $20 is the cost of a dungeon,
Yep. Which is still ridiculous in and of itself, too, I
which is
think.
still ridiculous. We've talked in the past about ideas to make the event card worth buying. Like, oh, do the event card, but like include the armor glow in it, or include the armor from the event. And I think if you did that, you would see a lot of people buy this.
Yeah.
You would see an awful lot of people buy it because, like, people like me, like, I bought my mech armor last year. I would have paid another $5 to get some more cosmetics, get a couple shaders out of it or something. I would have done that. Like, the other thing is, like, you look at this and they very clearly, like, they don't know how to straddle the line between put things in there that people have to have and keep things separate. Like, I looked at the one for this summer, nothing I needed. That's 2 summers in a row with event cards. I really hope the event card bullshit goes away with Final Shape, but I have a feeling it's not going to. It feels like it's pretty baked in now as a feature, unfortunately, and a feature in air quotes.
Right.
But I think you look at all that, and I wouldn't have had a problem with putting armor in the Eververse. I have a problem when we're not refreshing armor in other activities, though.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend like the core playlist armor has been good for a few years now, but to not even get a refresh on that, just to me, shows a general level of laziness and apathy towards the game.
Hmm.
Um, like, you're gonna tell me you couldn't just like whip up a set? We've now had the same armor sets at Zavala, Shaxx, and Drifter since the launch of the Witch Queen for 18 months.
Hmm.
If you're keeping track at home, we have had the same armor at Saint 14 for Trials since oh god, what was that season? Since the beginning of Season of the Haunted. So for over a year now.
Yeah.
We are coming up on a year of the same Iron Banner set, and it's a reprised set at that. Since we got an original Iron Banner set, it's been a few years.
Yeah. I mean, I like this set a lot, but I have it already on.
It's it's fine, but it's like, and I get that part of this is like, and surely part of the logic here, I'm sure, is, well, we've given them ways to earn all the old stuff. Yeah, it's super tedious too.
Mhm.
It's very tedious to sit down and try and earn the old stuff. It's not fun. It's really unenjoyable. So you have all that. Okay, that's just on the cost side. Okay, and I would also add in, you look at like the weapons that we get in some of these playlists, and it's like, oh, most of them are reprised weapons these days, and that's great and all. We've heard that to bring weapons forward, and to bring any sort of content forward, and bring it up to current standards, it's basically making a brand new weapon. Then make that brand new weapon.
Right.
Just make the brand new weapon at that point. Honestly, that's my take on it. But you've all that on the cost side, and then you get into the Eververse of it all, and like, I've never really had a problem with Eververse. The last couple seasons, I've started to develop one, because now they're doing these bundles where they're locking shaders behind silver, where you can only get, there are 3 shaders in the game you can only get if you buy the ornament bundles that they come with.
Yeah. And they're not even like great shaders.
I really like the shader that comes with the Quicksilver Storm ornament. I really like that one. But it's just like, these ornaments would sell on their own. These ornaments would 100% sell on their own. The shaders, and I really think they're trying to trap not just whales, but they're trying to trap the people who care about the fashion game,
Mhm.
right? They want you to come spend this money. I'm not spending $30 for shaders.
Right.
I've already missed all the ones in the event cards so far. I'm pretty sure one of the ones that's in the store for Dust right now, at the time of this recording, was last year's shader in the event card. I'm 99% certain. Because they've said that things from the event cards will can make their way to Eververse. And I gotta think that if nothing else, the shaders are gonna make their way there. I don't think anybody cares about anything else. But as long as the shaders show up I'll wait a year for a shader.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it. There's no shader that's going to make me go out and spend 10, 15 bucks.
Right.
On stuff I just don't want. And on top of that, you got to play the entire event for it. Like, but fuck that.
Right.
Fuck that. I look at this as like they wanted to do like a mini pass situation. And there's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is the way that Fortnite did it with the Star Wars event back in May, where it was a mini pass that you could buy. There was a free track and there was a paid track. And on the free track, you had some little emotes. You could get the pod racer emote, which was really cool. But you had to play you get most of your points just to do that. And at the end, you unlocked a clone trooper skin. Well, if you did the paid track, you got different styles for that clone trooper, and you got Darth Maul at the end.
Right.
For $10. You know what $10 gets me in Destiny? $10 in Destiny gets me 2 emotes that I'm never going to touch. It gets me a half-ass shader. It gets me a projection, and it gets me maybe a transmat effect is thrown in there too.
I mean, it's not even enough for a skin or a armor set.
It doesn't come with any armor. It doesn't come with a special ornament. Even if you threw in an ornament, I would be less upset about this. Or maybe like a special class armor ornament or something. I don't know. Like, there are things you could throw in here. There are ways you could make this better if you're going to try and get $10 out of people. I would love to see the numbers of how many people are actually buying these. I really, truly would love to see the numbers on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have all that on the cost side, and on like we don't feel like we're getting our value. That's without getting into the PvP issues, which we've just dragged through the mud over the last couple years on this show. That's without Gambit falling into complete and total disarray. To the point where I'm surprised that we're even acknowledging it as a core game. That being labeled as a core game mode is just so disrespectful.
Oh man. It's so funny.
I think
at least they didn't design the whole game around it like Exoprimal.
Okay, so Exoprimal, actually not that bad once you've played several rounds.
Yeah, I'm supposedly playing it with a few people this weekend, so
it's only fun with friends though.
No, yeah, I mean, I would not want to play that game by myself. But I guess shooting dinosaurs in a mech suit sounds fun, so we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. I think that like there's that kind of general feeling, and like, general playlists just haven't gotten love in a long time if they're not Vanguard, and even Vanguard's gotten like kind of the bare minimum at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of things that like the game needs to do now. Like, I actually wouldn't be mad if they came out and said in August, hey, we're doing our playlist changes now instead of in the November season or December season or whatever it is. We're gonna do them now because there's so much shit coming out in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
That we just want to get the game back up to a healthy place. And that's like, you have all that. You have the player sentiment that's boiling over them. This is kind of the crux of what I want to get to. We had a post on Reddit earlier this week and I want to make sure that I read this exactly. I want to, I got to scroll back through and find it because I had it screenshotted on my phone, and I just don't think I have it on there anymore. I think I deleted the screen cap as soon as I put it up. This was posted on Reddit from the player support team from, the Bungie team, so the community team, really. Devs who aren't community managers are still being harassed just because they work at Bungie, so using the community manager account on Reddit puts a bigger target on all the community managers' backs. I completely understand the want to go back to how we used to respond all the time here, but that time has passed. Until everyone can feel safe again, I wouldn't expect to see many responses from us here for the foreseeable future. However, just because we aren't responding often doesn't mean we aren't still looking at feedback. As a legend once said, we're listening, and while we can't always act on the feedback, we do share it with stakeholders every single week. So please keep it coming. You may find us responding more on our own help forums, so please report any issues to us there. So I want to take a second to talk about this because I think the sentiment from Bungie is kind of overflowing on this topic also, but in a different direction. Um, we've seen more and more people at Bungie just kind of like losing their cool with shit, and not like responding in like a rude or hateful way, but just like getting very clearly annoyed with everything that they post, whether it's related to the game or not, just getting bombarded about it. And there's a couple different things that can all be true at the same time, right? One, we can be upset that Bungie doesn't communicate the way they used to. This is a studio that since the days of like Halo 2 and 3 have communicated with us on a weekly basis, constantly. Have always kept us in the loop. The only time they've truly ever gone dark in that period was between Halo Reach and Destiny, when they were still working on Destiny before it got officially revealed. But beyond that, I don't think that any person should be getting harassed for just doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not happy with something in the game, there are ways to express that. That does not involve threatening people at the studio. That does not involve sending death threats. I mean, there was a legal victory this past week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where what was it, like $500,000 was the verdict or something? It was like $500,000, and it's a huge win for studios and for getting some rights placed
Yeah.
on, and some limits placed on what you can and cannot get away with. But beyond that, I don't think it's right to, get completely fucked up for doing your job. It very clearly affects them mentally. I mean, Damage left because of this shit, right?
Yeah.
He left because of this. Other people have stepped back from Destiny. Come on, for God's sake, we all remember what happened last year over Twilight Garrison, right?
Oh
With
God.
Kevin Yanes. We all remember that incident.
God.
And add into this shit's been going on for a couple of years now, and it's only gotten worse. Like, I really feel like the pandemic emboldened people in a way and the internet provides you with such a level of anonymity that you feel like you can get away with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the people doing this, well, you come to find out, they're kids that are like they're adults. They're like just a couple years out of high school, maybe, like not even 21. And I've seen the argument from some people. Surprise! I've seen the argument on social media from some people like, "Well, you're ruining somebody's life because they did something stupid. Didn't you ever do anything stupid when you were 19?" Yeah, I did. It didn't involve sending death threats to people. Okay. What I
Mm-hmm.
did when I was 19 and stupid was I stole beer from my parents, or shot fireworks off at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of February. That was the dumbass shit that I did. I didn't send death threats over the internet. I didn't send, I don't know. I didn't take pictures of people's houses and send them to them,
Right.
anonymously, or, threaten to follow them to work and shoot them.
Right. God, that's so scary, man.
It's fucking scary in today's day and age, right? So it's
Because
like, I completely
that
understand.
shit can happen. Like, so
Yeah.
scary, man.
That shit can absolutely happen. How many times do we turn on the news and we see that there was another mass shooting?
Right.
You know? And like, that shit's not funny. We all remember the incident at YouTube Gaming a couple years ago, back before the pandemic, when they had to go into lockdown because there was an active shooter. Like, I think I brought this up on I don't remember if I brought this up here on a different pod that we did, but the Modern Warfare team back in the day, and Black Ops teams back in the day, they nerfed a specific sniper that the comp side loved, and the game director got so many threats that he had to hire private security. Like, these are pixels on a screen, motherfuckers.
Right.
If you're getting that upset about a game, genuinely, please go play something else. Please play something else. Please check yourself into therapy or into some kind of like long-term like therapeutic service. I don't know what to tell you, but you clearly need help. And I think it's all. I also think it's wrong to like hand wave this and be like, well, you knew what you were signing up for. No, you fucking didn't. You fucking didn't. Like, yeah, in 2023, you probably should expect shit to come your way for
Right.
pixels on a screen, but nobody should have to pull back on the duties of their job because people are threatening people on the team.
Right.
We have a few people in the Discord say, I don't think that, the whole community should suffer for a few bad apples. Those bad apples have made threats that are credible enough that they feel the need to close that line of communication. And I don't really blame them at that point.
Right.
Not that I don't really blame them. I don't blame them at all. And I think Griffin was making a good point, social media manager over at Bungie. He's making a good point earlier where he says, there are content creators that stoke this, that, you know, will say something that gets their fan base all riled up. And there are a few specific content creators that tend to do this who also preach, well, we're not going to be toxic, no toxicity and this and that, but still get their fan bases really riled up. And it happens. We saw it happen with Cyberpunk 2077. Okay. That's one of the examples I keep coming back to is we saw that happen with Cyberpunk, and not specifically towards CD Projekt Red. We saw the heel turn on CD Projekt Red after the game came out. It was oh god, well, I'm trying to remember the exact scenario of it, but uh, Jason Schreier posted a piece back in 2020-ish. I guess it was 2020 about that game and about the state of it, and people got so mad at him. They were like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You just say that you have sources. Well, yeah, welcome to how journalism works, guys.
Mhm.
And then proceeded to get mad because he just started blocking anyone who was criticizing him. And I'm like, I really wish more people would take that approach. I wish more people would take the Jason Schreier approach and just block people. I'm not saying block for disagree. I'm saying block for the people who just don't shut the fuck up and want to
Right.
fill your mentions on anything and everything about this.
Right. I
Right?
mean, Jez Corden started doing that too.
Yep.
I mean, he's not
Yep.
as, aggressive about it, but he's started doing it too. I mean, he was talking about it on the Xbox 2 podcast at some point. So,
Yeah. And I mean, I think that there is, especially like back in 2020, like there was some of like, oh, you kind of invite that fanboyism. But I feel like people became really emboldened around the start of this current generation to just be more than shit posters.
yeah.
We've
Mhm.
got a generation of kids who grew up being shit posters who now think that that's how you go through life.
I mean, I wish I could say that they're going to have a rude awakening, but if those people start becoming in charge too, like, are they really going to have a rude awakening? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
This whole, this whole generation. I don't want to sound like the guy that says, "No, get off my lawn," but like, it's just, ah,
Yeah, I mean, so like, to be completely clear, this is not me hand waving the issues that the community has, but I think there's a right way to express those issues and a wrong way. And just because you're mad because you think Bungie's not hearing you is not an appropriate response to people sending death threats.
mhm.
Well, these people, they just got frustrated and mad. No, that's a bullshit excuse. That's bullshit that you say when you want to abdicate responsibility.
Right.
That's things that you say when you're like, well, they took it a bit far, but I agree with the point they're trying to make. Like, no, there is no agreeing with people who want to do that. Like, Dave told you guys the proper way to vent your frustrations, and I understand. Like, you feel like you're not being heard. They are not going to respond to every single person's concerns individually. You have a showcase coming up in 3.5 weeks. Like, that is where we're going. Excuse me. We are 32 days out from this showcase, 31, 32, something like that. Days out from this showcase. You are probably going to get a lot of this dealt with there. And
Mhm.
if it's not dealt with there at your biggest event of the year, then yeah, it's probably time to sit down and like do a boycott or something. I don't know. Like, just don't play the game. You're that mad, don't log in, don't play the game. And I see some people like, well, Bungie already got our money. Well, then you know what? You know what you need to do? Don't buy the next expansion then. But you're still going to, because you're going to sit here and criticize it on your YouTube content, and you're going to turn around and still buy it. You're going to buy it in secret. You're going to buy copies to give out as giveaways. Because as much as you quote unquote hate the state of the game, this is also how you make your money. So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place there, I think, for some of these creators. It's like I beg of you, please find something else to play. You know, Grenader Jake is branching out and doing things differently, and he's one of the top streamers of the game, right? Glad did it a few years ago. Datto has done it for several years now. And I know that it can be hard if this has been your entire living that you make your entire career. I understand how that can be a scary proposition. I'm begging you to please find something else though, because you're not doing yourself or your viewers any sort of favors.
Mm-hmm.
You really aren't. You are doing nobody any favors here. You are actively doing a disservice, and as so, when people see you being frustrated, and I'm not saying like, oh, put on a happy face for it, we pretend everything's okay, because it's very not. It's very much isn't. But when you don't weed out the bad actors, the bad faith brigade in your own communities, don't turn around and be shocked then when those same people in your communities are being pieces of shit on every single account under the sun that they can find. You know,
Yeah.
and that's not me saying like you're upset about the state of PvP. You can't be upset about the state of PvP, or you can't be upset about the monetization in the game. That's me saying voice it like an adult and not like a spoiled brat who's not getting their way.
Right. It's annoying. It's really annoying. I hate that, like, this
And
this
this is not
whole
exclusive to the Destiny community.
no, it's not. But I hate that this hobby that we have grown up with and love so much has come to something like this. And like, I just hate it. I hate almost everything that's become. And
Yeah.
it's just like, unless it's someone like you and me, or like a couple friends that I will talk to in a chat or something, right? It's like anybody you talk to that you have no idea who they are, it just becomes an argument. I mean, even with people that you do know, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
I got in a few arguments the other day, and it was like, well, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Like, I don't understand why this is just happening all the time.
Yeah, we we are no strangers to it. Corey and I have made it pretty clear that we are, predominantly Xbox players. We've seen a lot of the shade that's been thrown over the last decade, since the infamous E3 2013 performance.
Yeah, but dude, for some reason, it's been worse like the last couple of years towards.
Well, yeah, I noticed it particularly got bad right around the time that they announced the Bethesda acquisition,
Hmm.
because it was seen as, oh, they're purchasing these beloved games and they're going to keep them off consoles now. They're going to keep them off PlayStation. And without getting into like the legalese and the mumbo jumbo of the whole Activision deal, like I can understand where people would be afraid, but to do anything more than, well, that sucks, and shrug your shoulders and kind of move on, and that is like totally different. Like, okay, well, go buy a $250 plastic box and play those games if they happen to not come. But most of them are still going to continue to.
Right.
Almost all of them are still going to continue to. But these people in the same breath also want to be like, oh, Call of Duty sucks though. Blizzard sucks.
Yeah.
But you're upset because those aren't. It's a whole thing. But that's kind of the same way here. Like, you want to be like, Bungie sucks. But can you slide one of those event cards on over here?
Right.
Like, that's basically what they're doing. Like, oh, I'm going to complain publicly, but I'm still going to buy this. I'm still going to buy all the cosmetics I want to in the Eververse. I'm still going to spend like $50 in cosmetics on this event.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, if you were really upset about the state of the game, you wouldn't be playing. You wouldn't be logging in and playing every week, and you wouldn't be making content on the game every week, and you wouldn't be this and that. The same people in the same breath who are, oh, I hate the state of the game. Oh, well, I'm logging in right away to play Solstice. Like, come on, guys. Which one is it? Which one is it?
Right.
So, I don't say that, and I guess I just want to end this whole thing. We've been going on for like a half an hour about this, so I want to wrap it up. But you can have valid complaints with the game. God knows that we have them, and you should. If you have no complaints about the game at this point, then I think you're as bad on the opposite end. because you're either afraid to voice your opinion, or you're just like that new to the game that you have like nothing that you want changed or critiqued or anything like that. But there is a way to voice those concerns, and sending death threats and harassing messages and stuff like that to the dev team, to people who like literally just exist on social media and aren't even like posting about their work, is not the way to do it. Harassing community managers is not the way to do it.
Nope.
That's not gonna get you anything. That's gonna close off more lines of communication, and honestly, like, good. Y'all don't deserve to hear from people if you can't behave like adults.
Nope.
And I'd like to think that the Destiny community has done a decent job over the years of weeding out the bad actors. During the Me Too movement, a lot of there were some prominent content creators that
Yeah.
were sent packing by this community. You know, and most of whom have now completely devolved into conspiracy theory bullshit. But it's just like there's a time to root it out. And the problem is, I think this sentiment has just taken such a strong hold within the community that it's getting harder and harder to weed this out, because people might seem pretty normal to you, and then they fucking snap. They fucking
Right.
snap about it. And I think that falls to creators to, and I mean, I'm not even saying that it's like just the big creators, like small creators like us. Like it falls to us to like weed out those bad faith actors, and be like, hey, there's more mature ways to handle this. I like to think that we have a fairly positive community, and like spreading positivity doesn't mean that you just march along to the fife and drum. It means that we offer constructive criticism when there's a time for it. This is a time for constructive criticism. There's a lot in the game that needs to be better than it is. Like, let's be honest, the game's kind of fallen into disarray. But I think the content is there. The content's there. It just needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. Like, core things need to be fixed. Like the actual seasonal stuff, pretty fun. Pretty fun. I'm just having more fun playing Diablo and Final Fantasy. We got 3 Game of the Year contenders back to back to back.
Right.
We haven't had that in a couple of years.
Right.
They've all been spread out in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You and I were talking before the show, and you look at last fall, Nintendo didn't have a big release.
Mm-mm.
Microsoft didn't have a big release. Sony had God of War Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big game last year. That was the big game that everything stopped for.
Yep.
And we played that for about a week and a half because it was about a 40-hour game. And then we went back to doing what we were doing. The last time that we had this many games come out back to back to back was the very beginning of the pandemic, in the worst season of Destiny 2, during Worthy. You had Worthy, so we're all stuck at home. Worthy comes out literally the week we all go into lockdown. Trials is broken. The sentiment is horrible at the time. And meanwhile, a lot of us are just sitting over here playing Animal Crossing, playing Doom Eternal, and playing a Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Ori and the Will Wisps came out around the same time. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
were playing all these great games. So for a lot of us, it was like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Game Pass takes off around that time. But we haven't had a time where we've had to like sit down and be like, oh my God, there's all these. And it's 3 massive games on top of that.
Right.
It's 300+ hour games. Well, Final Fantasy 16 should not take you 100 hours, but there are 3 games that take at least 50 hours to get through the main chunk of it. Tears of the Kingdom, easily a 100-hour game.
Mm-hmm.
Diablo, easily you're going to probably spend about 100 hours in that game. And that's if you're not grinding out tiers 3 and 4.
Right.
And
I mean, there's going
Final
to be
Fantasy
people that put
16,
3,000 hours into Diablo by the
the
time.
Diablo is going to be played for years to come.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing game. It's, you can call it game as a service, whatever you want to call it, but it's got seasonal content. First season drops today. And there's a lot of negative sentiment over there, but it's just like, we instantly jump to, when we see something we don't like, we instantly go to, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. This is a fucking war crime. Somebody call the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague. We're gonna call the International Criminal Court on Blizzard Team 3. We're gonna call them on the Destiny seasonal teams right now.
Right.
Like that's what some of these people like to think that they're being, and it's just like, it's not that serious. Like, we live in an era where there's so much other media to consume. Just take a break, turn the game off for a little bit, and just play something else. Like, I did that a lot this season, and I am finding myself wanting to play Destiny now. I'm finding myself wanting to come back. I did it last fall when I was really disillusioned with Plunder. I went and played Persona 5 and God of War, and then I came back completely refreshed about a month and a half later. Did it a couple years ago during I infamously I took a lot of time off during the 30th anniversary. I played it the day it came out, and then I basically didn't touch it for another 2 months because I played the Mass Effect trilogy for the first time.
Yep. Favorite co-host on the
And
Citadel, Josh Finney.
favorite co-host on the Citadel. It's just like I have found these other things that I want to spend my time with, and like there's some great quality movies out there, some great TV shows. Go watch Silo if you don't watch Silo. There's a lot of things you can go watch right now, and you can engage with that aren't Destiny. Like, it doesn't have to be your life 24/7, and it's okay to put the controller down. Putting the controller down doesn't mean that you're moving on. It
Right.
means that you're going to spend your time on something that you value, maybe just as much. You're choosing to spend it in a different way. And I think what we're seeing a lot of these kids who are like 18 or 19 who have, grown up during like peak Destiny 2, who suddenly don't know what to do because they hit a rough expansion and they don't really know what a rough expansion looks like for this game. They weren't here for they weren't here for Shadowkeep.
Right.
Like, does anybody remember the ending to Shadowkeep where we talked to ourselves in the garden, in
Mm-hmm.
the Black Garden, and then all of a sudden we're kicked to orbit?
Yep.
Does nobody else remember that? Does anybody remember Ikora building a fucking Vex portal? These children were, in grade school when, we were conquering the Vault of Glass for the first time, and it was kind of like, is this it? This is the end of Destiny 1? Great.
Yeah, Destiny 1, man.
Anybody remember the black poop that we fought at the end of D1? I
Yeah.
do. Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Pepperidge Farm
Like,
remembers.
guys, I promise you it can get worse. I
It was
promise you
worse.
this is not the worst the game has ever been. It can in fact get worse. It's just this is like the inflection point. This is where everything is just coming to a head. Where
Yeah.
any little inconvenience is going to set everyone off in a massive way. But you know what? It is the cycle. We see this chart every year. It is this cycle of destiny.
Yeah.
We are here. We are at the community is enraged point. And in 4 weeks, we're gonna be here. Fuck yeah, we're back. That's where
Yeah.
we're gonna be. That's where we're gonna be 4 weeks from today. Yep, we're back. We have a reprised raid on the table. We have a new season. We got the final shape revealed. We all bought our collector's editions. Y'all sit
Hopefully,
here and want to talk all this shit. You're gonna be first in line to buy that collector's edition.
yeah. Hopefully it's not a season of the slumber.
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna make myself be done here because I'm gonna talk myself in circles. But just be better, people. Be better. That's what we always preach on this show. Be better. Be constructive in your feedback. Don't be shitbags. If I see anyone from this community being a shitbag, I'm gonna call you out on it. I like to
Yep.
think that if you're still listening to us, it's because you know what we stand for, and that it's not we promote positivity, not toxic positivity,
Right.
because that does nobody any favors.
Zero favors.
Zero favors. But Corey, we have a TWAB to read this week. There's
We
not
do.
much in here, but we've got a little bit to go through.
Yeah. Twid. The Twid, Josh. It's the Twid.
Nope, I'm calling it the TWAB.
By the way,
Uh,
hold on. Before
Go
we
ahead.
get into the Twid, well, it's part of the TWAB, Twid, whatever you want to call it.
Yes,
What is this Prime bundle? It's awful. I've gotten that ghost like 40 times.
I think it's just a different color of that one. I will say, I fucking love that ship. I've had that ship in my equipped on my character for 3 years now. I love that ship. I was wondering why it's a Solstice ship, so I was wondering why it wasn't in the shop. Well, I have my excuse now. That is a really cool ship. It does a lot of really cool things with shaders, so highly encourage you to grab the ship. Uh, I like the emote, and I'm just going to get rid of the ghost and the projection right away. But Soul Piercer is absolutely one of my favorite ships in the game. I'm stoked. You are alone on an island, my friend.
That's fine. I usually am.
Oof. Womp womp.
Oh
It's not the writer's chat.
God. Oh my God.
Um, So let's jump in here. Solstice is back, Corey.
Yeah.
Solstice is back. You weren't here last week. I got to get your take on this armor.
It's cool. I mean, I think
No
the
giant shoulder pads.
I know, but dude, the helmet looks dumb. It's all about the helmet, Josh. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, you don't have a feather in your head, at least like I do.
Yeah, but that it doesn't look that bad.
It looks pretty bad.
I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, I'll give it that. It's fine.
It's
It's better
all
than
very,
it
it's
has
very
been.
Black Parade and like mariachi band esque.
Oh man, where's the mariachi band emote that goes with this?
This is the loudest song in the
Oh,
world.
oh no.
Um, yeah, no, I agree. I played a little bit of this the other night. I was hanging out with Ronnie in voice chat on Tuesday. I did a round of Bonfire Bash, and I was like, all right, I feel like I'm done. I feel like I'm done. I feel like I don't need to do any more. I just did not enjoy myself. I grew disillusioned with Solstice a couple years back. This year, you don't really have to go out very far. Like it's all kind of just in that central area. It's really really easy to get it to 20. The mobs are appreciated, but you can still wipe them because they spawn in like groups of 5, so it's really easy.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like this event really, really needs a revamp. Bonfire Bash last year was a step in the right direction, and it is still fun. But the only time we ever go up to the roofs now is to fight some Taken partway through.
Mhm.
Like we don't hunt the chests anymore. It's just all around. It's just really aggravating. I personally didn't enjoy it that much. Um, I have heard nothing but awful things about this rocket launcher. This
You mean the one that they show off in the trailer?
Yes, the Strand rocket launcher, the first Strand rocket launcher in the game, by the way, heard nothing but bad things about this. Crowning Duologue. I just have no desire to see this thing. I kind of want to get it just to have it in my collections, and that's it. Um, nice design, apparently terrible weapon. Um, but like previous years and other events, some of the other weapons have come back with new roles. The something new hand cannon now can roll with subsistence and headstone. So kudos to anyone who is looking for one of those. I've heard pretty good things about some of the new rolls on that gun. But yeah, I just Solstice. I if you haven't earned the title, cool, go earn the title, I guess. But I found myself bored with this event.
Yeah, I mean it's
Completely bored. Just like, all right, well, this is a thing.
yeah, I haven't really done any of it yet, to be honest with you, but I usually find Solstice pretty hmm,
It's a shame because I think when Solstice was still tied to Moments of Triumph, I actually cared.
yeah.
Um, I can't bring myself to care now because it's like, well, there's nothing tied to it that I need to care about. So I'm just kind of disappear a little bit and finish up the things I'm doing outside of Destiny. Trying to get back into raiding, trying to get back into some dungeon runs. I forgot to say this I forgot to say this last week. I got the Dungeon Exotic Trace Rifle.
What?
Very excited. Johnny Joasis and I ran the boss together. John and I both got it. We were ecstatic, and then we ended up doing a catalyst run to get the catalyst. So very very stoked to get that. Um, eh, very happy, very happy. Now only missing a couple of pain in the ass exotics, and then I will again have everything. Really thinking I might try and wrap those up before Destiny showcase time.
Do it. Do it.
New developer insight coming. Same way we previewed the changes coming to weapons in the mid-season update, we have plans for another developer insight before the month ends. This time, the economy team will cover some updates to masterworking currencies and weapons coming to the ritual activities in season 22. The article is going to drop next week, so it sounds like that's going to be for the next, obviously for the next season. We will talk about that in next week's episode. Let's talk about this community emblem contest, Corey.
Yeah, this
I
emblem's kind of cool. I really like this emblem.
I'm glad you like it because I had a different reaction to this.
I mean, I can't believe it's the winner, but I like the concept and the idea, right? I mean, as somebody who
I'm
used to draw in their notebooks all the time instead of doing their homework or doing taking notes in class, which might explain a lot about me anyway. But I think that I think that's kind of cool.
I thought this looked really silly. I'm going to be honest.
Well, I think that's why it's cool is because it's so silly.
Well, I thought it was silly and not in a good way. Um, I understand what they were going. I read on their Twitter page they wanted an emblem that was like sketchy and whatnot, and I liked that, but I think this looks yeah this is a thing. I saw so many incredible emblems though during that contest that I don't think there was any like logical way to pick a winner.
Hmm.
So I think they truly just went for something that was really unique.
Hmm.
Um, but it's fine. Okay, cool. I look forward to seeing them in game. They said that they let Bungie employees vote on their favorite, but
Hmm.
I don't know if that actually happened. If so, I don't know how you voted between the hundreds of submissions that I saw myself. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. I won't be equipping this, but I'm glad that they are doing more things from getting the community more involved. I'll always be appreciative of that, even if I don't particularly like the outcome. Like I personally don't really care about the Wither Horde ornament that won either, but I'm glad that it's in there as a community thing. I certainly prefer the synthweave arbalest one that we got
Hmm.
over anything. But okay, cool. I'm glad that it's not somebody who we see their art all the time coming around the community. So I can be thankful for that. That somebody else got uh, some
I'll be wearing this emblem.
notoriety. Of course you will. Bungie Foundation's Bungie Day Giving Festival is coming to a close on Sunday, July 23rd. Um, it will conclude with one massive grand prize featuring a signed collector's edition of both Lightfall and the Final Shape, and annual pass game code. So the annual pass is coming back. And bundle of 7 PlayStation titles. Anyone who donated at least $1 through our 7 Days of Prizes event from July 13th to July 20th will receive 1 entry per daily donation, up to 7 entries. And any donation of at least $1 made between July 20th and July 23rd earns you 1 additional entry into the grand prize. And then Nolan North sent out a video thanking for giving. They did reach their campaign goal of $777,777. So always nice to see. Little update coming to trials for next season for the loot pool. Exalted Truth hand cannon and the Unwavering Duty machine gun are both going to be departing the pool. The last chance to earn Unwavering Duty will be July 28th, and Exalted Truths will be the following week, August 4th. If you are still looking for their adept versions or some nice rolls, now you know when to be ready. One new weapon and a rock solid favorite will be in season 22, along with Messenger, Immortal, Astral Horizon, and Unexpected Resurgence. It is confirmed that the hand cannon is going to be coming back. Igneous Hammer will be the one coming back. So that's the returning weapon. That is an often requested gun to come back. So happy for everybody to see that.
Yes.
In what might be the worst Bungie rewards thing that we've seen in quite a long time, you can earn sunglasses through Solstice this year.
Interesting.
It's a choice.
These are yeah, it's a choice. That's
It's a choice.
I feel like I saw these at Walmart the last time I was there.
I feel like I'm seeing them in like a 2006 version of Buckle. So
Buckle.
they're right there next to the Ed Hardy and Affliction shirts.
Oh god.
Yep. Yep.
I have a story about that, but I'll save that for another podcast.
Yikes. That's unfortunate.
Oh, it's most unfortunate.
It is most unfortunate. And that's it. That is the TWAB this week. The TWAB is very, very lacking. And that's fine. We are clearly uh, abruptly turning into showcase season and are getting a big blog next week. I don't know how many of these we should expect between now and the showcase, but I would expect probably at least another one or two. Because I suspect there's a lot that they want to get out there before the new season and don't want to take time during the showcase or release a shit ton of blogs that day. Um, Please, God, have one about armor. About armor sets that we are not seeing. So,
Oh boy. Well, good job, Twid. Short and sweet. You know why, Josh?
why?
Because we have a ton of questions.
We have a ton of questions tonight. Yeah.
Shout out.
Most of them aren't too bad, though. I'm going to be honest. We actually don't have as many as you would think. So Zhao writes in first. And Zhao asks, you're going on a cross-country road trip with 3 other passengers from the Destiny series. Who are you taking? I mean, for me, I have to take Drifter. Drifter has to be on this trip.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Drifter has to be on the trip for sure. For sure. If he's not, then what? I mean, are we even having fun? Are we even doing it right? Let's be honest.
I want Drifter. I want Cade. And I think I want Christmas Grandma because she's going to make cookies for me.
She's going to bring snacks.
She's going to bring fucking snacks, man.
Man, yeah,
I think that's who I got to take. I got to go with those 3, I think. Because I got a guy who's funny. I got a guy who's a little fucking weird, but he's definitely going to be the driver. And I got Grandma who's
You're
bringing
going to let
snacks.
Drifter drive?
I'm going to let Drifter drive. That's right.
Oh, my God.
That's right. We're gonna be cruising for chicks with Drifter and Grandma.
Yeah. What about Shaxx?
No, Shaxx would just have road rage and yell at everybody.
That's fine. No, you know what
It
he
would be
would
this
do?
No, it would be this booming voice that would wake me up all the time.
No, you know who Shaxx is? He's the one that cracks a beer open in the middle of the day in the back seat.
That's Drifter. That's Drifter when it's not his turn to drive. Drifter's got a kegerator hooked up in the back.
Oh no. All the depressed souls cannot come. So Zavala and Saladin and Ikora, they can't come. They just bring the party down.
The ones that are too serious can't come.
Yeah.
Hawthorne, you get to stay your ass at home too.
Yeah.
You're the pet sitter.
Jesus Christ. Oh.
I would consider taking Devrim with me because he's got that accent.
Yeah.
And it might help us out in instances.
Yeah. Drifter. Oh my God.
Who would be your 3 that you would take, Corey?
No, I would probably do Drifter and Cade also, but switch. I would think it would be really interesting to see Shaxx on a road trip.
It's fair.
I want to see what happens. I want to see if he gets if we're at a rest area or something, if he gets in the fight with some sort of attendant there. And then we all have to run
also asks, if Tower Casuals had a drinking game, what would be some phrases that would get you slammed? My top choices would be Josh saying, shit's bad, real bad. It's been a week. Sweat Lord. Corey saying, well, anything absurd taken as a hot take. I would add any variation of Jesus Christ into this.
Yeah,
it's so bad that Nerd has now made a command in the Discord. Shout out to Nerd. He's made 2 very funny commands in the Discord this week. One, if you do !JFC, it'll pull a random Jesus Christ that I've said in the Discord over the past couple of months, and it'll automatically repost it. The other is if you put !crop, it'll post a meme that I keep sending to our friend Saint14, who does not crop his memes at all. It's a meme that says, I've seen better crops in the Irish famine. So shout out to Nerd for enabling everybody to see those at all times. I do like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Nerd.
Shout out to Nerd. God, my phone is going off.
Oh no.
Okay. No, it came through my headphones and then my phone dinged right after before I could mute it. Speaking of Saint, so what are some other phrases? Any variation of Jesus Christ, I feel.
Yeah.
Any talk about sandwiches?
Yeah. By the way, Earl's Sandwich has a Nashville hot chicken sandwich now. Did you see that?
Oh my god, I do. Listen, you sent that to me, and I saw a picture of it. Instant heartburn.
Oh my god,
Instant heartburn.
dude, it
The
looks so good.
sriracha mayo did not do anything to calm that.
Dude, sriracha mayo, jalapenos.
Nope, I shan't
Mm,
be partaking in
mm.
this.
Oh, dude, you might as well eat that sandwich on the shitter. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, listen, that would be the sandwich that I feel like I would buy and I would bring home with me and eat it at home and not at Disney World.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to eat it before I go get on a plane for sure.
Oh, no way.
And I don't want to eat it before I go to the happiest place on earth.
No. I mean, it could be a dinner sandwich too if you just go downtown and then, then you're safe and sound at your hotel.
No, I mean I better be eating it, and then I better have an Uber booked and on the way by the time I'm taking that last bite. I better be eating and walking. I gotta be eating and walking. I can't take the on property buses or anything. I just nope. Nope,
Oh,
nope, 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 nope. Saint writes in and asks, "What are your top 3 pulse rifles and hand cannons?" Saint, we don't use hand cannons here.
no, dude, who do you think we
Tower
are?
casuals do not use hand cannons.
Yeah.
So,
Who do you
top
think
3
we
pulse
are?
rifles. So for pulses, I'm gonna go I wanted to go non-exotic here.
That's
Um,
going to be rough.
I don't think it's rough. It's narrowing it down for me. um, so okay, I'll do 2. I'll do top 3 legendary and top 3 exotic. My top 3 legendary in no particular order are Peace of Mind, Insidious, and Messenger. Anybody who has ever played with me knows how much I love my Messenger. It is
I
my
also
pride and
like the
joy.
messenger.
I fucking love my Messenger. My 3 exotic are I mean it's pretty easy here. It's Outbreak Perfected, it's No Time to Explain, and ooh shit. Am I forgetting a third one?
Uh-oh.
Oh
Uh-oh.
no, I'm forgetting what the other exotic pulses are.
Uh-oh. What about uh Vigilance Wing?
No, oh god, no. I would go I'd go Graviton Lance.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What
I
are you
don't know why
doing?
I was thinking Graviton Lance was a scout rifle in my mind.
Oh man. That's
Oh
good.
man, that's embarrassing. You could go bad juju here. I don't care for it. I don't care for yeah. Revision 0 doesn't get up there for me anymore. Vigilance Wing, lol. But yeah, those are my picks. Those are my picks across the board. You might just get a better list if you did exotic and legendary combined.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your exotic list is exactly mine. So
I mean, Corey was never going to choose anything other than Outbreak Perfected.
no. Well, I mean, I do like No Time to Explain. I have been actually using that quite a bit lately. Um, so I also like that pulse rifle from Season of the Chosen. What was that one called? I really liked that one, and then I forgot what it was called, so I must not have liked it that much.
In Chosen,
Yeah.
Messenger was from Chosen originally.
Yeah, I do like the messenger, but I'm talking about the I was gonna say Sweet Sorrow, but that's the auto rifle. What is
No, that was from Season of the Risen too.
That's what I meant.
You're thinking
Risen.
Peace of Mind. You're thinking Peace of Mind.
Sorry. Risen, chosen.
Yep, Risen was Peace of Mind.
Yeah, peace of mind. That I really like that pulse rifle a lot.
That's great. I needed to hit a little bit harder, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
Um, if you had a sandwich named after you, what would be the name?
what'd you say? What? Sorry, you cut out.
Saint asks, if you had a sandwich named after you, what would be the name?
Oh God. Man, what would be the name of my sandwich? Jeez. God, this is a loaded question.
I
That
fucking hate you. I fucking hate you.
That's the name of my sandwich.
I'm gonna go with the Big Daddy. I'm gonna go with the Big Daddy.
The loaded
Corey,
question.
let me tell you what's going on the Big Daddy.
Okay.
Let me tell you what's going on here. You're gonna get some turkey. You're gonna put turkey on it.
Mm,
And when we're talking sandwiches, we're talking at least a 6-inch hoagie here. Okay, we're gonna put some turkey on there. we're gonna put some ham on there. Okay, we're gonna put some provolone cheese on here, provolone or pepper jack. We can go with either. Then we're gonna load this bad boy up. Okay, we're gonna put some lettuce. We're gonna put some spinach. We're gonna put like three different kinds of peppers on here. We're gonna put bell peppers. We're gonna get some banana peppers in there. We might even get crazy and put some jalapenos on here. We're gonna put an ungodly amount of olives. I mean, like, if you are not pulling out a full handful of olives, it's not enough. We're gonna put those on there. We're gonna do a little bit of any of the following dressings. We're gonna do a little bit of mayo or a little bit of sriracha mayo. If you go regular mayo, you got to sprinkle some honey mustard on there too. And then I think you can just cut that bad boy in half and you're ready to go. That thing is fully loaded, ready to go. I'll also accept the Hawaiian barbecue sandwich that Roll Sandwich no longer makes. I'll also accept that, but you can't call that the Big Daddy. That's the Aloha Daddy.
Oh God.
That's right. That's
I.
right.
Oh my God. Oh man. So for me, Josh, the loaded question. Okay.
Hit me.
We're gonna get some of that pepper turkey. Okay.
Okay.
The good pepper turkey. Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna get
Yep.
some. We're gonna get some like spicy mayo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like a good spicy mayo. Not too spicy, but just enough to give it a little, little kick. Some applewood smoked bacon on that bad boy. Okay. Some
Mm-hmm.
jalapenos, some onions, some lettuce, I guess, for effect. Um, and then I guess what we would do is put a little bit of green pepper on there, and then it's gonna be on some wheat bread there, Josh. Some wheat, like a wheat sub bun.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the loaded question.
The loaded question. There you have it. There's our sandwiches.
Yeah.
And lastly, if given the chance to be a character in Destiny at any point in time, who would it be and why?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I man, again, given the chance to be a character in Destiny. See, I don't want somebody with like a sad ending. Okay, I want somebody
I
who's
want to be
like,
Shaxx. I'm just gonna say it. I want to be Shaxx.
that's fair. Yeah, Shaxx.
I want to be I either want to be Shaxx because that means you get to fight a Twilight Gap, Six Fronts, the Great Ahamkara Hunt. You got to fuck around with your powers and be a warlord for a little bit. But I'm also a hunter at heart, and unfortunately, the hunters, we have really bad stories. Bad shit happens to us.
It's true.
There's none that have a happy ending.
Nope. Nope. Let's see. Who do I want to be, Josh? Look, Saladin has had a long, sad life, but
He
okay,
has.
but he gets to wield a flaming hammer. Okay, and now he runs a cabal arsenal. Okay, it's pretty cool.
Confirmed Corey wants to essentially be the shift leader of a bunch of Cabal war beasts.
Yeah, let's do it.
God.
Let's do it.
God
Yep.
almighty. Jiggly Panda writes in with two questions. First, what do you think the new subclass will be since it got leaked? I'm going to stop you right there. As a refresher for anybody who does not remember, we do not discuss content that has been leaked and or data mined unless it has been officially put out there by Bungie themselves. I did see the Saint for your reference because Saint did reply to this and says Finn has no clue about it. He'll most likely guess. He stays away from social media because of spoilers. I will have you know that so many fucking people tweeted this link out and posted it all over the bowels of the internet that I have seen it. I have made my guesses as to what I think the subclass is going to be in the
Mm-hmm.
past. I'm going to abstain from those guesses after having seen this because I don't want to discuss leaked content. All I will say is check back in
4 or 5 weeks.
approximately check back in approximately 29 days to see what my reaction to the new subclass is.
Yep.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I don't mean to be like the fun crusher. I'm just really after everything that happened around Lightfall, I'm really big on I don't want to have leaked content floating around or being discussed on our show. Um, and then Julie Panda's second question. We kind of addressed this earlier. Um, do you think the bigger Destiny content creators ruin the game? Like when they publicly come out and complain about a gun or a game mode and it gets fixed? I've been thinking about this for years and want to get y'all's opinions. I don't
Some
think it's ever. Go ahead. Go
uh,
ahead, Corey.
uh,
I want to hear Corey's take on this first.
I was gonna say sometimes. I'm gonna say sometimes. I feel like sometimes there are creators out there who like I don't know if it's to get engagement or to get clicks on their videos or their streams or something, but they are so over exaggerated about some of this stuff. Granted, some of
Mhm.
it's warranted, right? Like multiplayer maps, of course, it's warranted.
Yep.
Gambit needs fixed, warranted. But there's other things like like certain weapons. It's like okay, there's like 5,000 weapons in the game. Use a different one. I get that you're excited to use the new one, but also you stream or create like 8 to 12 hours a day, and this game is the one that you focused on. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Go play a different game. Go, like come back to Destiny. It's we've seen enough creators go and try other games, right? That like maybe they don't get the same audience, but like it's just like, man, I don't know. Sometimes I just want to like tweet at them and say, "Get over it, dude." But I don't want to be that guy because I don't want to be another, negative voice. I just, you know, I have my thoughts and I'm gonna stick with
Yeah.
my thoughts. But but then there's others that are valid, right? Like that do take it seriously and kind of have a good explanation for why they feel the way, and they kind of say it in a way that's like
Yeah.
not not
And
shitty.
not everyone's like that articulate either, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really hard to read a tweet that limits your characters also. Um,
Yeah.
so, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I would say that I would edge on the side of no. I do think that sometimes and I mean Corey kind of nailed it, right? Where you said that it's one of those things where you don't know if they're trying to get engagement or views or whatever. And I do think that like deliberately inflammatory and quote unquote clickbaity titles are a thing, and I really hate that phrase because like by nature a title needs to be clickbait to get you to click on it, because otherwise you're not going to be interested in it,
Right.
right? Like the title has to be engaging enough for you to want to click on it. I do think that as we discussed earlier, I think that sometimes some of these content creators do farm the negative emotions of the community a bit too much, and I think that is backfiring in a spectacular way against them right now. But I do think that there are some that there's like this perceived idea in the community that because certain people complain about things that Bungie is just going to nerf it. Guys, it's not that easy to determine a nerf. Like just because you see Salt Greppo tweeting about something doesn't mean that Bungie instantly listens to him, because I've seen people go, oh look, the Divinity nerf, like that was in the works long before. Like
Right.
yeah, you can have notable content creators complain about things and give their opinion on things and whatnot, but that at the end of the day I think that's all it is it's an opinion. If you don't like what content creators are saying, just kind of block them out. I hate to be that person, just mute them, block them out, find somebody else to listen to, because anybody who's going to be negative all the time is just using you to troll for content essentially. Like they're trying to get you riled up because they've realized that, and I think a lot of people have realized this on the internet, it is more profitable to be negative than it is to be positive or to talk about the good things.
Yep.
It is way easier, and it just by human nature it's way easier for us to be negative than positive about things that frustrate us or annoy us. It's way easier for us to lean into the negativity than it is for us to focus on the positives.
Hmm.
So while there are valid complaints in the game right now, the way that some people are going about it is completely wrong in my opinion.
Yeah. Be constructive
um,
with your criticism. Don't
be
right.
constructive. Be constructive with your criticism. Ronnie asks, if we get another darkness subclass, should they introduce it in the last season heading into the final shape, or during? We've seen the good and the not so good while introducing it with the expansion.
Hmm.
It would all depend around the circumstances of why are we getting this, because
Yeah.
that's the core issue. Like, why are we getting this? Like, yeah, it didn't make sense in Lightfall, and we now know that that's because it was supposed to come with the Witch Queen,
Yeah.
right? I feel like if there's another subclass, first off, it's coming during the final shape. They're not going to give it to us a season before, because you have to tie that to a purchase. They're going to want that tied to a purchase. So, You're gonna have that. You could get a couple of weapons maybe ahead of time that are of that uh element,
Yeah.
but I feel like any actual subclass isn't going to come until the actual expansion comes out. One, because they want to tie it to a purchase, but two, because there has to be a story reason for us to get this
Yeah.
right. Why do we need this power to defeat the witness here at
Hmm.
the end of here at the end game? Why do we need this final power to beat him? And the only way I see it is if we're taking part of his power, if we're taking part of resonance, right? So you have to have a reason. And I think the problem with Strand is there was no story reason for us to need Strand. That was part of the problem, but they had to figure out how to weave that in. Like, it's green. It
Ha.
pretty clearly was meant to be in the Witch Queen. I get it.
Hmm.
I get it. Okay, like that. I think that that's completely different. Stasis, on the other hand, we hated all the shit that came afterwards, but how they built up the Stasis and Beyond Light, I thought was actually really cool.
Yeah. No, Stasis
We
was cool.
finally had to embrace it at the end to beat Aramis.
Yeah. Stasis was cool. I didn't I still hope they find a way to like e- be able to upgrade stasis without having to go through all that end game stuff, right? Like, you know, for
Yeah,
secondary or tertiary characters, right? Like that's just absurd. If you want to do that 3 times, that's still like boggles my mind a little bit. But
I agree.
especially because like especially now, like with Strand is so easy, and the other subclasses, if you jumped in after they changed that, that's still pretty easy to upgrade, right? Like stasis is the one that's like completely still just tied to that content, you know?
Yeah, I do in a way. Like, and I wish it wasn't so grindy. I don't mind unlocking the aspects the way you do because you get the whole story of Anna and Elsie that way. Um, and Clovis is tied into that. I actually enjoy all of that. It's just that you have to do so much running across the map and so many ridiculous quests to get it done. I feel like it just automatically should unlock on secondary and tertiary characters. Um, but yeah, as long as there's a story reason, I don't see any reason why this would be bad to introduce in an expansion. And I think the expansion is the only appropriate place to introduce this. Doing this in a season would be fine if seasonal content actually stuck around,
Hmm.
but seasonal content doesn't stick around. So I think that makes it inherently hard to introduce things like that in a season. And I mean, like, I can't imagine a seasonal instance that would require us to take this power and not something in a expansion.
Right.
Hail Hydra Fool asks, they've got a couple questions here. Are either of you into Warhammer? No.
Um, no. But I do like that Space Marine game on Xbox 360.
So that's Corey's favorite faction, Xbox 360 Space Marines.
That sequel looks awesome too.
I could not begin to tell you the first thing about Warhammer. I'm going to be completely
I can't
honest.
either, but the first one you had like chainsaw swords, so that was cool.
There are so many games and so many miniatures and everything. I have never gotten into it. I Dungeons and Dragons is where I draw the line for tabletop RPGs. So write in with your D&D questions. I'll be glad to answer D&D questions. Uh, and do you have a favorite grenade that you always come back to design wise, no matter how good or bad it is? For me, I live for the Void Scatter Grenade and the Vortex Grenade.
Mm. I'm a sticky grenade guy. I always find the
Okay.
sticky one, even if it's not great.
So yeah, I'm a lover of the Vortex Grenade for my Void class. I much prefer that one. I used to really like the Void Wall one, just because I like the design of it. I thought it was unique, but it's dog shit. So I try not to use it too much. The one that I've been enjoying using a lot on my Arc class, I want to figure out which one I have on here. I'm looking. I still am running storm grenades on my art class as a hunter.
Mm.
I just think it's really fun. I love watching the lightning come down and zap everybody. I like doing that as like I like doing my slide melee to kill a group of enemies, and then when another group spawns in, I love chucking the grenade at them and running away.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of combos.
I get it. I get it.
Uh, Cade's ace in the hole.
Ah.
My question: how does Josh know how hot Satan's dick is? Is he speaking from experience?
Oh God,
Okay,
Josh, tell me the
so
story.
listen, I I have been rather disgruntled with the heat in Texas as of late. I described it the other day as it's hotter than Satan's dick outside right now
Mm,
because the temperature in my car got up to, or on the outside of my car got up to 109 degrees.
gross.
Guys, that is unreal for like anybody. It is awful. It's absolutely awful. If you have never experienced a temperature that hot, consider yourself really lucky because it's bad. It's really bad. No amount of AC really helps you. I I just want to die. every every time I step outside, I just
Wow.
want to die.
Oh man, that was just funny how
It's
you said that.
it's so bad. I tweeted it the or I posted it in the Discord on Tuesday. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, it's hotter than Satan's dick outside. And sure enough, it was. It was at 6:30 in the evening. It was 109 degrees outside.
Mm,
I took my aunt to the airport Tuesday morning. And Corey, at 4:30 in the morning, I left my house at 4:20 in the morning. Okay,
gross.
stopped at the gas station to get a Red Bull. Come back out to my car, turn my car on. So my car's been outside for a little bit outside of the garage. It said that it was 89 degrees at 4:30 in the morning.
Gross.
The heat index was already over 90, and the sun is completely down and everything. Texas has been going through it. And this is not one of our hottest summers either, apparently. We are actually right on schedule for how many 100-degree days we've had.
Mm.
By this point last year, we had like 25 of them, apparently. I don't seem to remember any of that, but this year has just been, it's been awful because they haven't just been like 100-degree days, they've been like 109. We've broken the record so many times on various days already.
Hmm.
It's bad. So, no, to answer your question, I do not know how hot Satan's dick is, but I have to imagine that it's the current environment in Dallas Fort Worth.
Mm.
It's humid. It's fucking hot. I'm over it. I'm over it. I want to move somewhere with seasons because
Mm.
right now it's hot and slightly less hot in Texas.
Hot and slightly less hot.
When we get our 1 week of winter where the entire state collapses. So
What
uh,
that last year? Like when it was like
it's been like the last 3 years it's happened. Yeah, in various regards. Last year was real bad at Christmas. Christmas 2022 was really bad. Um, People were I mean, they were out of town for Christmas, right? When this cold snap came in, and I guess they didn't tell the office or whatever, and didn't leave their water dripping, so pipes burst everywhere. They have been fixing apartments in two different buildings for a while because it was like entire sections of the building are like unlivable.
Hmm.
Yeah. And all I could think the entire time was, please don't happen to us. Please don't happen to us. Because you might remember, I had my apartment flood last year. And so I'm incredibly scared whenever I hear like water in the walls or in the pipes. Incredibly paranoid. Incredibly paranoid over here. Our final
X.
thing comes to us from Ronnie. And I say thing because it's not really a question. It's a hot take Ronnie wanted to share with us. There's been a lot of talk about the Solstice armor. Solstice armor looks great this year because of the lack of glow. I
Mm,
agree. It's not overt and obnoxious unless you buy it.
yeah, that's fair.
I enjoy it. It reminds me of the shattered armor that we got prior to Beyond Light. I really liked that armor because it wasn't obnoxious unless you bought the glow.
I gotta look it up. I wonder if there's. I need to see an image of it without it glowing. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, it looks way better when it's not glowing.
Yeah. As you know, the great wordsmiths of My Chemical Romance once said, "We will carry on." During the Black Pearl,
Carry on,
talking about that song.
carry
If
on.
you needed to know how old I am, that song came out when I was in the 8th grade. Um, I am officially old.
Well, I'm older than you, Josh. So what does that
It's
make
true.
me?
Old, old as a matter of fact. Yeah. No, excuse me. This came out when I was a freshman in high school.
A
I
wee
was a freshman
lad.
in high school.
A wee lad.
I was a wee lad. Yep. September. 2006 was a somewhat magical time for young Josh. Great fucking album. Great fucking album. Great band to see live. We have two pieces for the lore corner. We haven't gone to the lore corner in a few weeks. We've got some lore corner for us this week. Some Solstice lore that I'm excited to read. Unfortunately, little more on the somber side.
Oh, somber.
Yeah, we no Guardian bookies this year.
No, what? No
Unfortunately,
Guardian Bookie?
a little bummed, but it
He's
is what it is.
the Guardian Bookie's the best character. What do you mean no Guardian Bookie?
I know. This is from the Crowning Duologue, the new rocket launcher. It took a full 7 minutes before Lord Shaxx stopped pretending the screen in front of him was transmitting a live Crucible match and not a looped recording. He finally let out an aggrieved sigh and folded his arms across his chest. Forge, if you can spare a few moments, Lord Saladin said with grim humor. I wanted to talk. Shaxx leveled his helmet in Saladin's direction. Saladin returned his stare. Fine. It isn't a matter of wanting. We need to talk. Saladin braced himself. About Twilight Gap. Shaxx turned to face Saladin, arms sliding down to his sides. His chest expanded as he filled the great bellows of his lungs. You made the right call, Saladin said quickly. There was a muffled, choked sound from beneath Shaxx's helmet. We've always known that much. Saladin's mouth twisted unhappily. He turned his gaze to the city's horizon, feigning interest in a flooded crater near the outskirts. Even if I refused to admit it. You saw hope where I couldn't. I told myself your defiance was grandstanding. Saladin laughed ruefully. I'd given up, but you and your fire team bought us time, enough time for all of us to change. Shaxx stood unmoving. They both waited in protracted silence. At last, Saladin sighed. After all these years, after everything, I trust your judgment. I just wanted you to know that. Shaxx's helmet shifted just slightly. Before the end. Before whatever comes next. Shaxx nodded slowly. You know, I had a host of incredibly scathing comments prepared for this moment. Saladin smiled. I bet you did. I kind of hate that this is buried on a rocket launcher that everybody is going to hate
Yeah,
because this is the very definition of a payoff moment as far as I'm concerned. This is one of the most quietly beautiful moments we've gotten between the characters and all. We've gotten a lot of these moments over the last year, right? There is this sense of finality that we may not be coming back to this cast of characters and that not everyone's going to make it home.
right.
But certain things needed to be addressed. We saw how Saladin and Zavala eventually set aside their differences,
Yeah,
right? And that took a couple years to play out. And now, he's not only on Kaido's war council, he's also one of Zavala's advisors.
right.
He was one of Zavala's advisors before he went to join Kaido. Now he's making things right with Shaxx because Shaxx, Zavala, and Saladin don't really get along. All three of them don't. I believe that Zavala and Shaxx get along better, but still not great.
Yeah.
That's kind of the last piece of the puzzle here, and I do feel like we're going to get some final moments in the lore with Zavala and some of the others
Hmm.
before we go into the final shape. I really love that this is here though, and they didn't save this for the season right before,
Yeah.
um, because this kind of gives it a moment to shine in a little bit. And I don't know. It's just one of those moments that I think like we've all kind of wondered, like, are they ever going to patch this up? Are they ever going to sit down and talk? I believe we've had questions about this over the years.
Yeah.
Um, I was pretty adamant that they just weren't ever going to address it anymore, and
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. The first time I read this, I was shocked. Shax says nothing throughout all of this, and I think that he's kind of in shock. He can't believe what's happening here.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, Lord Shax, Saladin has finally apologized to you and told you the truth that we have known all along that you made the right call.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me wonder about Saladin's fate.
Yeah.
I do feel like they are kind of setting the stage for him to go out in a blaze of glory alongside the Cabal.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that of the three main Titans, he does, well, four really, if we include Saint, he does make the most sense
Hmm.
from a story perspective.
Right.
Um, one of the biggest recurring stories in Destiny has been Saladin's story,
Yeah.
and from Rise of Iron all the way through now, and just what this guy has gone through, what he's done, what he's sacrificed. I do think that death on the battlefield is the only appropriate end for Lord Saladin.
Yeah.
Um, the other one that we have is the Ephemeral Spark, which is the ship that you can earn this year in the Solstice. Wow, check out that power source. Retro. Even though the hollow projector's patchy connection and the rippling visage of Nimbus, there's no missing the excitement in their voice as it echoes off the walls of the arcology. You said this was new Pacific tech? Found it not too far from here, Sloan replies. We've still got some of their old records. I always liked their jingle. Sloan smiles. Next frontier is you? That's the one. Catchy, right? Nimbus grins. So, hey, you're absolutely onto something. This exoskeleton of yours looks a whole lot like some of the early Cloud Strider prototypes I learned about. Before the side reel, before the nanotech, just a couple of neural links and some chrome. This bio interface, Sloan snorts. The part where the suit stabbed me full of wires. The frame alone must weigh a couple of tons, and you weren't in the battle? Sure did. Nimbus's projection looks up at her with serious expression. You are so cool. They focus for a moment on the datapad in their hand. I know some gearheads will flip. Quinn's gonna love this thing. There's a few design flaws, Sloan says. Once the suit was out of juice, it was impossible to maneuver. I basically had to rip myself out of it. Nimbus laughs. Hey, there's some downsides to the shiny new model, too. Sloan wasn't sure what to expect from this exchange when Zavala first proposed it to her. A polite back and forth about Golden Age tech, as one might have with the Cryptarchs. Maybe a few resentful accusations, a little culture clash. Not this sense of recognition like an old familiar ache. Nimbus's smile is radiant. Still, while you're along for the ride, what a rush. Sloan nods. Best feeling in the world. Not too much of this. I like that this is their way of kind of keeping Nimbus in the story. They did something similar with Finch, and they've done stuff with Elsie in the past and whatnot. This idea that Nimbus still has something to offer to the main cast of characters, and that maybe their role isn't quite done going into the final shape.
Yeah.
We are assembling the allies. We're assembling the Avengers, basically. And I think, part of that's, we rescued Sloan. We discovered Asher within the Vex network, obviously. Would not be shocked if Asher took control of like a Vex mind and joined us, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That seems plausible.
it seems very plausible. This is Destiny. Anything can happen. Obviously Crow is on our side. Mara is fully on our side now. We brought Devrim back into the fold. I'm sure that we're going to do something with Failsafe at some point.
Oh god, failsafe.
Failsafe, yeah, Failsafe may be what's coming next. There's been an interesting thought that's been kicked around. What if we have to strike an alliance with the Vex to get through the portal? And I'm kind of wondering if now that we're getting back into the talk about Sloane's suit, we just knew that it was Golden Age tech that she suited up with back in Arrivals. Maybe I'll scroll back through and I'll find that piece for us for next week. But I think that's a really cool moment to be able to acknowledge, like that her and Nimbus can sit here and have this interaction when they've never met in game, but that doesn't matter. Like it almost seems like something we'd be listening to over one of the radio broadcasts, and yet at the same time it feels completely natural for it to be right here.
Yeah.
So nothing like life altering on it, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
I still really like this.
Yeah.
I like this piece a lot.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for our lore corner this week. I
Man.
want to do a little bit of Zivu Arath stuff next week, but yeah, we're rapidly coming up on the next season,
Like
and hopefully it speeds up, picks up the pace a little bit because I'm ready. I'm ready to dive into what's next.
I can't believe we're like so close to the final shape.
We're about 7 months out from the final shape right now,
That's so
assuming there's no delay.
yeah.
This could all change in a month, but right now we're about 7 months out.
I'm so interested to see what happens the next two seasons. Like I
Yeah.
it's just like I wonder what's gonna happen. They've dropped so much so much lore this and story this season. Like
Hmm.
anyways, that's it. That's all I got, Josh. That's all I got.
That's all I got too, Corey.
All right. Well, that's all we got. So
Let's get out of here.
we're getting out of here. Thanks for checking out this week's Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. Remember, Josh and I also started an Xbox podcast that goes up every other week, so you can check
We
that out
did.
as well.
We've been talking a lot about the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Fox and I broke a little bit of it down last week, but if you want some in-depth analysis of the entire Activision FTC CMA affair that's going on, we've done 2 really good episodes, and we'll have a third one. Hopefully this is going to close in the next week or 2, and we'll have a third really good episode for you on it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And we got Starfield coming up. We're going to be talking a lot of Starfield on that show if you're interested.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Josh, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter or on Threads at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. I'm trying to use Threads a little bit more. I'm not sold on it yet. And the problem is, I need it to be a little bit more like Twitter, like circa 2019, before I like jump in on it. I'm also just really leery of using another Facebook product at this point. I'm not a fan of Facebook and of Mark Zuckerberg, but I mean, if it's what gets me off of, Elon's platforms, then, I might have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm usually just hanging out in Discord these days, though, to be quite honest. I'm in Discord. I'm still tweeting a little bit occasionally, but I've really curtailed my social media usage other than just like reading.
Yeah.
So it's been great for me. It's been great for my mental health the last couple weeks.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you can find me at I am Corey in HD. I've been using Threads more than Twitter. I'm only using Twitter because I have some DM threads with people that I don't want to lose out on. So
Mm-hmm.
some people Josh and I might have on a podcast or 2 in the future.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. So anyways, follow us at Tower Casuals, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.